So one day Ephraim comes into my office and he says to me, like all the rest of the employees had gone out for the day. And he says to me, he's like, a lot of the guys around the office, they're telling me that you're not pulling your weight around here anymore.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? The contract's going great.
Yeah.
We're delivering 4 aircraft loads a week. The money's rolling. We've solved all the problems. What's the problem? He's like, yeah. The Afghan contract's going great. But we've got some contracts in Iraq that are really struggling and you're not helping with those. And I said, but I work on a commission basis. I'm not one of your employees.
Yeah.
You want to give me a piece of those contracts? I'll work on them. He's like, oh, don't be crazy. You didn't help us win those contracts. Why should I give you a piece of them? I'm like, then why should I help you with them?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, because, if those contracts go down, the entire company could go down and that could take the Afghan contract with it. And I'm like, you got to watch out for the company. I'm like, well, you want to give me a piece of the company then?
Yeah.
And he says, you know what, David? He's like, I'll tell you what, I own 100% of AEY and I always plan to keep it that way. But you're my best friend and you're also a big part of why AEY is where we are today. And so I wouldn't make this offer to anyone else, but for you, give you a very generous $100,000 a year executive salary and 1% of AEY. And I'm like, well, the Afghan contract, I get 25% of that.
And that's the vast
That's
majority.
going to make us like 90% of the money we're going to make over the next few years.
Yeah.
And I'm set to make $15 million from it. So I appreciate your $100,000 salary, but I'll stick with my $15 million.
Yeah, right.
Thank you very much, but no thank you.
Clear and obvious.
Yeah. And he says to me, he's like, well, how about 0? That's the only offer on the table.
Of the 15 million?
He's like, you either take the 1% of AEY and $100,000 a year, or I'm giving you nothing. And I'm like, we have agreement. He's like, well, that's the only offer on the table.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's what he says to me. And I'm like, well, go fuck yourself. I'll see you in court.
Oh
and
my
I walk
God.
out, and that was the last day I worked at AEY.
Wow.
Yeah.